Hello, welcome to my astrology series. In this video, I'm going to discuss Mercury, Mars, and Venus. And true to the actual placement of the planets, it would be Mercury, Venus, Mars. But actually in my chart it's Mercury, Mars, Venus. Maybe that's why I said it that way. In any case, we'll start with Mercury. So we've got the circle, crescent, and the cross. So there's receptivity, containment, all possibilities, and at the same time the void and nothingness into physical manifest form. So essentially Mercury is the medium, and it's tricky. It's actually kind of like the trickster god energy, in that it doesn't really represent any one physical medium. It is the energy of medium and the path, the trail, with which information, people, things are transported. So Mercury as an energetic vibe rules communication, not just communication like words, but the medium through which our brain processes information, turns it into speech, thoughts which turn into words, which then are communicated, received, understood. Every piece within which it is transformed, that's a mercurial energy. And then also literal transportation, travel, communication like mail or email or merchant comes from the word Mercury, so like sales and passing things on from the finder to the salesperson to then the person who uses it, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So the big thing with Mercury that everybody talks about is Mercury retrograde. Even the muggles, have heard of this one. And it tends to be a time, so retrograde periods, I might do a video all on that on its own, but essentially it's when the planets are closest to the Earth, and it tends to correspond to a certain degree of intensity depending on the planet, but especially with Mercury retrograde, which happens 3 times a year, it tends to be a time where you can expect miscommunications to happen. You can expect that there might be an increase of incidents where your words are misunderstood, or you get the wrong idea about something that somebody was saying, or things don't go through as far as trying to send off mail, or you're expecting communications that don't go through, or buses might be late, you might miss flights, expect that these incidents might increase during this 2.5 week time. not including the shadow phase, which that's its own thing. And the best thing to do is hedge your bets, show up early, try to get important communication sent off before or after, read contracts 3 times before you sign them. Traditionally, you're not really supposed to sign contracts, so if it's anything sketchy, then try not to during that time. I remember I was living in a household, and I advised against the household getting a new internet and phone service provider. During this time, I'm just like, I don't know, let's see if we can wait, yada, yada, yada. But the household went against my advice, and it turned into this huge deal where the contract was completely different than it was supposed to be. There was hidden fees, yada, 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 things like that, which, that happens with these telecommunication contracts. But still, I was like, should have listened. So yeah, we ended up finding a different provider anyway afterwards, which that's often what happens is, then after the phase, things get cleared up, and the big lesson of it all is that it kind of shakes things up, and it pushes people to wake up out of complacency and think of new solutions and different ways of being, and go unexpected places, and not be married to your schedule, be willing to kill some time if you miss your bus or whatever, what have you. Be willing to walk down a new path that you didn't expect you were going to go. So it can be a really awesome time, actually. It could be a great time for introspection, for revising things that are already in existence. Like if you're a writer or an artist, it's a great time to edit your work, to go back and look at it with fresh perspective. So that's my piece on Mercury. And next we'll go into Mars and Venus. I'll go ahead and just draw that on the same paper. So we have Venus, which is beautiful, beautiful. The void, the womb space into manifest form. So this one's pretty clear. Sometimes, symbologists will say that the sign for Venus is the mirror, and they'll kind of put it in this very kind of sexist way. It's the mirror because Venus liked looking at herself in the mirror. But really, the mirror can also be symbolic of receptivity and seeing yourself, being willing to embrace and accept yourself, accept what you see. We're all mirrors of each other. So Venus is the energy of reception, appreciation, relaxation even. It has a kind of creativity to it, but it's like the creativity of the Empress. It's this relaxed, magnetic force. Doesn't need to run around and be getting shit done. That, on the contrary, is this Mars energy. I made Mars so big. I know. But that's this Mars energy of this kind of projecting, phallic, frankly, drive that stems from all of creation and is striving towards action and activity. And it's, Mars is good too. I mean, these are the sexy planets, you know, like, so you need both of them, and really they play into one another with this drive towards action. There needs to be that receptive polarity to receive the energies, and, you know, vice versa in a way. The act of being receptive and being appreciative is active in its own way. It's kind of like the yin-yang energies. So those are very fun planets to look at in a chart. They're very important in like relationship astrology, as are other planets as well, but those are definitely the fun ones. And yeah, them with the moon, that's like, that's some of our basic drives, you know. Actually, the sun, the moon, Mars and Venus, those are considered the personal planets. I don't think Jupiter is included in that. It definitely moves quicker than the outer planets, but it's still, it's not quite generational, but it's like a whole year of people with the same Jupiter sign. So I mean, it's involved, but it's a little less personal, a little less basic. So yeah, that was this installment, and the next installment, good segue, will be Jupiter. So tune in next time.